So the big boys are running out of supply. The market makers are getting more and more sophisticated with each passing month. Back in 2017, you know, you had people who weren't quite au fait with charting, and now since then, obviously the average retail investor are becoming more sophisticated with charts, so they know where, you know, the support and resistance lines are, etc. Know where to put their stop losses, blah 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 blah. And with that, market makers are having to become more sophisticated as well. So now what is also happening is market makers and the big boys are running out of Bitcoin. So what they're having to do is shake the markets more so than ordinary, really. You know, more institutions and treasury companies are starting to bag more Bitcoin, which is taking more and more supply off the markets. I think last time looking, they were into 3 figures in terms of treasury companies. So supply is becoming more scarce, hence, you know, that is adding to the issues we're seeing in terms of the market dumping. Now, what I did mention in the last video, so the good news on the horizon really is obviously QE is coming. You know, you could argue that, you know, once we do start to see easing and liquidity injected into the system, it's going to take time to come into the system. Yes, blah 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 blah. But it's coming. You know, we've also seen the government shut down, so it's essentially QT or quantitative tightening on steroids. So we've seen a tightening of the purse strings. Now, what do you think is going to happen when we do eventually start to see QE? You know, from the Federal Reserve and, you know, other central banks across the world, which you could argue is already happening, but also, you know, the government shutdown ceasing over in the US. You know, when you do get a government shutdown, the purse strings tight, there's nobody there to pay the checks, etc., etc. It's almost like a GDP slowdown. So when the government reopens, we're going to get a form of quantitative easing. So all risk assets should start to lift, so stocks, real estate, commodities, and of course crypto. And we've also got the Clarity Act to come, which will make crypto clear for a lot of the big institutions and companies as to what they can and can't do, what's a security, what's a commodity, etc. And also the big beautiful bill, which is going to see trillions of spending. Now, with all this spending, you're going to see the dollar drop, and with that, risk assets start to rise. So there's a lot of things to look forward to. I'm ignoring the short-term noise, as I always say to you. So just hang on in there. There's a lot of good things coming. Understand what's going on. Remember, Trump and his cronies, nobody else, are playing with everybody like putty, using tariffs to manipulate the market. So just understand what's going on around you holistically. Enjoy your day, stay safe, and have patience.